Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at the new Dino Trackers, Wild Roar, Diabloceratops. Wild Roar, Rawvors, Raw Strikers, it's all the same, they're the ones that make the sounds. It's always very welcome when Mattel decides to give us a new ceratopsian species. I feel like their ceratopsians as a whole, they've done a pretty good job with all of them, better than some groups of dinosaurs that they have tackled, so I was really looking forward to this Diablo when it was first announced. Now, I ended up finding this figure at Target. It was actually on an end cap with some of the newer figures. The rest of the main toy aisle is still clogged with Dominion figures. So if you're hunting for this figure in stores, definitely check those Target end caps. And it's also available on Amazon. And I'll leave that link down below in the description if you want to order it online, which I don't blame you because going to stores this time of year really suck. People are crazy. And this figure also retails for $17.99. So hooray for inflation. Now let's just go over the package really quick before we crack this big red beast open. Up here in the corner, we got Beta and Blue, two of the most pointless characters in Dominion. And let's not forget in the deleted scene, Blue pretty much straight up murdered a father and son Jurassic World logo down here in the corner. Up here, we have the new action feature, which features different levels of aggression, just like my ex. And then over here, we got a picture of a cactus. I guess this is supposed to be a desert species. I don't know what the whole story is with this Dino Trackers line. And then turning it around, we get a picture of all those different levels of aggressions. And over here, we have the other figures available in this wave. We got the Dryptosaurus, Eocarcharia, I guess that's how you say it, and the Chronosaurus. Still looking for the Drypto and Chrono. I have them pre-ordered on Amazon. Hopefully, I will find them in stores. My Target did have the Eocar, and it's the first new species I'm not going to pick up. I just can't stand the way it looks. It's just a lazy Therizinosaurus repaint, and the eye just really bugs me. The stupidest little things do bug the crap out of me. I know I'm petty, so enough about the packaging. Let's crack this thing open and take a closer look. And here is the Diabloceratops out of the packaging. I have to say, I quite like this figure a lot. It's a very big and heavy figure for its size class. I also remember the Sinoceratops was also a very heavy figure for the dinosaurs that come in the size of the raw figures, and I think they did a really good job on it. The paint apps are very sparse, but really don't need a lot of paint apps on here. Just the way the color scheme goes. The main body is this really deep red color. It really hammers home the Diablo and Diabloceratops. They have this really light brown for the front legs and the underside, the contrast with all that deep red. And you have a little bit of black on the fenestras, on the frill, and around the eyes. But yeah, really cool looking figure. Now the head, the ornamentation of Diabloceratops is there, but the head frill is really exaggerated. But that's what you expect from Jurassic World at this point. They just, take really big liberties with designing their figures, but why in the world did they give it a little nose horn? Diabloceratops never had a horn. Yeah, different DNA, blah. Movie monsters. That just is just annoying the living crap out of me. But the rest of the figure, I think, is absolutely fantastic. I'm just nitpicking at this point. Now, for some measurements, figure is 11 inches long from the tip of the beak to the tip of the tail, or just under 30 centimeters, and about 5¼ inches tall to the top of the frill, or 13.3 centimeters. So Diabloceratops in real life was around 15 feet long, or 4.5 meters. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 1/16 scale range. And now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head. I really like the head sculpt, except for this pointless nose horn right here. The other horns are all painted in this very dark brown. It almost looks black on camera. Even the ones on the top of the frill are painted in that color. So if you're going to give it a totally pointless horn, come on, Mattel, at least paint it. Now for the eye is painted in black. I mean, yellow with a black pupil. You have some black around the eye, and you also have some of that dark brown on the fenestra of the frill. The whole head sculpt is just loaded with lots of details. You have all large scales lining those frill openings. You have some larger ones mixed in, and you have all nice pebbly texture all over the head. I have to say, every new series of figures from Mattel, the sculpts get more and more detailed. Paint apps, that's a different story. The beak is painted a light brown color. You can see the nostril sculpted in. You got another horn coming off the side. The underside of the lower jaw is painted in this nice light brown coloration. Nice contrast with all that deep red color. And look at this. The mouth is open on this figure. Look, Mattel, you actually do realize ceratopsians do have mouths. I think this is the first ceratopsian figure that they've released with the mouth open, so that is a really, really cool touch. You can barely make it out. There is a tongue sculpted in there, and then going down to the rest of the body. The head's a little bit brighter red than the rest of it. It's more of a deeper red when you get to the main body, but very, very nicely done. It's a very thick, chunky, powerful looking animal. Front legs are cast in that light brown color. Hey, you don't have to paint the legs if they're cast in a different color, right? Seems to be the trend with a lot of figures in the line lately. It usually bothers me. It doesn't bother me on this figure because there's a nice transition with the rest of the light brown coloration on the underside of the figure. Going down to the hind legs, nicely sculpted, lots of folds and wrinkles, very powerful calf and ankle muscles. Toe claws are not painted in on the figure, which is pretty typical for almost every Mattel figure that's ever existed, except for the Hammond collection. And here's the back right here. Like I said, it's a very thick and heavy figure. And then going down to the tail, what is this? We have a little splash of paint on the tip of the tail. That's been one of my big critiques from Mattel, that they don't like painting the tails on their figures. But, my first two Dino Tracker figures have paint on the tails. And even though it's just a little bit of paint, I'll take it. So, yeah, all around, I think this deep red color scheme really works for this animal, since it is a Diabloceratops. We have that little cactus on the pack, and it means it comes from a desert region. I just think the rusty red and this brown coloration just kind of gives it like a sandstone look. So yeah, all around, really, really cool figure. I quite like it. Now for articulation, it's pretty basic, and most of it's tied to the action features. So the front legs are actually on a hinge. It allows them to swing out. They can move forwards and backwards that far. They can actually move a little bit more backwards if you just lift that hinge up. So that hinge joint is very much welcome. Hind legs can move backwards and forwards, and there is a pivot at the hips to help with posing. Totally useless rotation at the tail. And almost forgot, for those of you who like to scan these into the Facts app, here is the DNA code, and the rest of the action feature is tied to this little knob on its back. Now, it's not as bad as those stupid sliders that came on the Raw Strikers, whatever the hell they were called, during Dino Escape. This is a nice compromise. It's really not that bad looking. So what you want to do to activate the levels of aggression on this figure is just move this slider from side to side. And the head of the Diabloceratops will swing side to side. All right, calm down for a second. So one thing I want to talk about here, if you look at the base of the neck, you can see, it's almost like this giant ball joint. I wish there was a hinge on there, or this head was just on a ball joint on this neck joint right here to get some nice side to side and up and down movement with this figure. Just one little piece of articulation could really make a figure great. Now for comparisons, first up here is the Hammond collection Alan Grant. And next up, let's do some smaller figures. Here it is with a Velociraptor and the Hammond collection Gallimimus. And here it is with its fellow Dino Tracker Sinotyrannus. So rant incoming. The line is called Dino Trackers. Only a few figures in the line so far actually come with Dino Tracking equipment. The Sinotyrannus Stegosaurus and the Indoraptor. Everything else doesn't come with equipment. This is the same crap Mattel pulled when they did Dino Escape. Yay, capture gear is coming back. Good news is only 4 of them are coming with capture gear. Everything else didn't come with it. And now people are going to say, they have to account for the budget for these figures. The figures that came with the Dino Tracker equipment and the capture gear, they're all that dual attack, massive action size figures. They have basically 2 action features on them, and they still included another accessory. So it is in the budget. The price was still exactly the same. So they can include Dino Tracker equipment with these Wild Roars and the Ferocious Packs and everything else in between. Just have some synergy when you're trying to do something different like they did with, Dino Escape. It was supposed to be awesome capture gear. It's just like literally 3 figures came with it in the entire line. And I was so disappointed by that. And I'm actually liking the equipment with this Dino Tracker. It's different and unique. And I wish every figure in the line came with it just to have some synergy. And this is the same bullcrap they pulled before. So I'm just really disappointed in that aspect of the line. And next up here is Diabloceratops. With the rest of the ceratopsian species Mattel has cranked out over the years, we have the Pachyrhinosaurus pentaceratops, recently reviewed, Ionosaurus, Sinoceratops, Triceratops, Protoceratops, the Pseudoceratops, and baby and Styracosaurus. The only one missing from this picture is the Microceratus. That figure barely saw any release in the US. Hopefully that thing shows up sometime in the near future in another release. So yeah, as a whole, Mattel's done a really good job with their ceratopsian. I've liked all their ceratopsian figures. I think they're really fun. I do appreciate some of the artistic liberties that they do take with them. You know, the one that really shoots up my butt the furthest is just how small their Triceratops is. Maybe someday we'll get one in the massive action size range like it should be, but I'm not holding my breath because I'd be dead already. And next up here is a non-Mattel figure. Here it is with the Beast of the Mesozoic Diabloceratops. You can see what an accurate version of this animal looked like. Like I said, Mattel's got the general idea of what Diabloceratops looks like, but they do that, Jurassic flair on it. And for those of you that love the Hammond collection, love articulated dinosaur figures, definitely give the Beast of Mesozoic figures a look. They are 1/18 scale, so they do scale with the Hammond collection. They're just an absolute ton of fun to play around with. And lastly, here it is with the Hammond Collection T-Rex. This Diabloceratops is just like a hair bigger than the rest of the Mattel Triceratops. So it looks a little bit more imposing next to this Rex. But yeah, Mattel, get on the ball. Give us a bigger Triceratops. People have been screaming it for years. So final thoughts on the Diabloceratops. I really like this figure, besides the little horn right here. Everything else, I think it's great. The action feature works good. It's a good compromise with this little lever on the top versus those stupid switches that came with Dino Escape. The color scheme is really sparse, but it really works for this species of dinosaurs. Like I said, they're really trying to hammer home that Diablo part of Diabloceratops. And it's just a really fun figure all around. It's definitely one of the larger figures in this size class. So yeah, all around great figure. Highly recommend it. Just really wish it came with some Dino Tracker gear, but I already went off on that. So if you're looking for this figure, it's available on Amazon. Link is down below in the description, and it's also popping up in Target stores. Don't forget to check those end caps. So that will do it for the review. I have more Dino Tracker stuff on pre-order. I'm sure I'll probably find most of them in stores before they actually ship from Amazon. Actually, I think something did ship. I think it was that vehicle with the Atrociraptor. Sure, I have a lot more Dino Tracker reviews coming up on the channel this month, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.